Alright, thanks for tuning in to the Leading Forecast. I'm Swift Lead Forecaster Joseph Cooper, and tell you what, big story this week's going to be the warm air coming in. We're going to start to see nice temperatures come up through the United States here, and really going to feel a lot more like spring this week, even though we're still only in mid-February. Let's get on over to it. Watch's warning's very, very quiet, very non-active for the first time in quite a while. It seems like every time we view this, there'd be some kind of a winter storm watch or warning or something going on. But today we're all quiet. Let's swing on over to the radar. A few lake effect snow showers out across the New York area. Some snow showers still going on across Maine. Some showers and maybe even a little bit of snow coming in across the Pac Northwest from northern California up through Oregon, Washington, and even into Idaho. Some higher elevations seeing some snow there. And then a few snow showers out across Colorado right now. But other than that, we're pretty quiet. So that's good. Let's get on over. We'll go to the forecast models. This is as we get into Wednesday. There's your low pressure system. That's the system coming on board with the showers across the Pac Northwest. And you can see that's sitting over Montana. And the warm air is really starting to work its way in. In fact, a lot of places are going to see temperatures up close to 60, and down across the south central plains and down towards the Texas and Gulf Coast are going to see temperatures probably up in the 70s, maybe even approaching 80 in some places. So that big Bermuda high you can see off the coast there really providing us with some nice warm temperatures. I tell you, I'm ready for it. I'm tired of winter. This is as we get into Friday here, low pressure center up across southern Canada here. You can see some showers breaking out all the way from the northeast down across the Midwest, and even down into places like Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, getting in on a little bit of rain action here. Nothing major, but warm temperatures still there. And they're really going to, kind of fight the cold there. They're going to kind of stay there a little bit. This is as we get into Sunday. Low pressure system sitting out across the Denver area. We got some rain, maybe even some thunderstorms breaking out across Nebraska. Nothing severe by any means. And then we do have the big low coming off that kind of came across Canada, is bombing out up there. But other than that, not too much happening as we get into the weekend. As we get into Monday, here's that low coming up across Iowa. We get some snow on the back portions of it, maybe up towards the Dakotas into northern Minnesota, and then potentially maybe we'll have to wait and see some severe weather across maybe Missouri into eastern Kansas, maybe even northeastern Oklahoma. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out. A little iffy at this time, but a lot of warm air spreading in, helping the dew points go up across that area, those early spring dew points. Then as we get into Thursday, low pressure system centered down across the Dixie states here. We got a lot of rain coming across the Carolinas, down in through Tennessee, northern Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and then some snow and ice coming out across, probably snow actually out across the Iowa, Illinois, Kansas, Nebraska area, and then we'll have to watch for ice out across central Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. We'll have to see how that plays out as we get into that next Thursday. And then that storm moves out, and you can see the next low that's setting back there behind that storm. That one comes in. That's going to be the next potentially big storm. GFS has been pretty consistent with it here. Still about 2 weeks out, so who knows. Big low pressure sitting out across Iowa and Missouri. Snow on the backside, probably getting some pretty heavy snow and some high winds out across the Dakotas and Nebraska, and even up into Minnesota is going to get in on that. And then in front of it, potentially severe weather out across Texas, and then maybe even up into the Midwest might see their first potential severe weather event. I say event, not outbreak, just event, where we could see a few severe weather reports there. Getting on over 500 millibar map here, you can see this is as we get later on in the week by Friday. Low pressure system. This is why it's not going to do anything. I think you can see not a lot of digging in. We just kind of get almost more of a zonal flow there, and there's just not a lot of moisture, no diffluence, not a lot of uplift or whatever you want to say, even though it's not the proper word. So we don't get a lot of lifting in the atmosphere with this one like we would in a better digging trough. So that's why we don't get too much with that. As we get into Monday, you can see the trough does dig in, the new one coming in. That could cause enough lift. That's why I'm thinking we could see a few severe weather reports next Monday out across eastern Kansas, western Missouri, because that trough gets a little bit of upward lifting, upward motion with it, and could create, who knows, maybe a few severe weather reports. Low pressure system coming in behind it here. That's out across the Pac Northwest. That's going to swing in a little later in the week, but it just kind of fizzles out. And again, we get a negative tilted and a bit of a digging trough, but again, not a lot of upward lift or upward motion with it. and the jet just isn't any very difluent. There's two jets. You can see the big bulge up in Canada, and then kind of the southerly bulge here down across the central United States, and they're just not what you want to see for a big storm. So we throw that one away. And then here's the storm that's about 2 weeks out that I was talking about earlier. I mean, this thing digs in a lot of upward motion. Look at the difluence, the two red arrows here. You're seeing the first one kind of down here across the Gulf, and then the second one up here going into Canada. I mean, you're really getting a lot of moisture working up, a lot of lift, a lot of instability, especially for this time of year. So, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. The storm chaser's probably kind of gnawing at the bit to get out there. I know I've been there, am there, currently there. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with this. So who knows? Don't want to jump the gun just yet and say we're going to have a big severe weather event. But, the potential's there, Who knows? Weather's crazy, and the models flip-flop so much this time of year as we get into March and April. It's ridiculous. So could turn into a big snowstorm. Who knows? I hope not. Anyways, that's all I have now as far as updates throughout the week. Probably do one maybe Wednesday. We'll have to see. Schedule's tricky this week. ChaserCon at the end of the week, so I'll be in Denver. So hopefully we can do one Wednesday and then maybe Friday afternoon before it all starts, and maybe get one Sunday afternoon. Who knows? We'll see what happens. So might get one done each day. Nobody knows. So anyways, that's all I have right now. Enjoy the week. Enjoy the warm temperatures. I tell you what, I will. If nothing else, enjoy the warm temperatures this week. Get out and go play golf or go fishing or something. That's all I have for now. Until next time, I'm Swift Lead Forecaster Joseph Cooper. Thanks for tuning in to Leading Forecast.